Ulfred, patron of the great clan Battleborn. A name I'm sure you know well. What's there to say? You go against the Empire, you wind up dead. Thorald got what was coming to him. Best not to ask too many questions about it. People might get the wrong idea about you. You watch yourself out there.
Hello, friend.
Got a brief full stock of potions and alchemy reagents. Hello, friend. I think I can teach you a thing or two. So you're interested in my potions and ingredients? Be careful out there.
Let me just tell you, on second thought, I'll keep that. Welcome to Bellathor's General Goods. Everything's for sale, my trinkets, odds and ends, that sort of thing. Do come back.
Come to chat with an old woman, hmm? Do your good deed to the dead.
Good to see you again. A fine day to you, friend. May you die with a sword in your hands. I'll gladly share my knowledge with you. Yorick's sister? Poor child. Magic runs deep in that family's bloodline. that's not always a blessing. Thank you for this. Something for your trouble.
My body burns.
Be careful and stay safe.
We had 100 septums says I could drink you under the table. Twice.
I want you sellswords out of my mind.
Watch your tongue, native. We'll leave when we're sure there's no Forsworn here.
Oh, and when would that be, I wonder? When I sell my land to the Silverbloods?
The Silverbloods have made you a very generous offer for this pile of dirt. I suggest you take it.
I'm one of the few native sons of the Reach that owns land. Doesn't make me very popular. Robbery is what it is. The Silverbloods are trying to muscle in on my land. Forsworn attacked the mines, and suddenly all these sellswords show up to help. They won't let anyone work until I sell it off. You can try, but I'd keep your sword arm ready if things get ugly. My family has owned Karthwasten for generations. Rare for anyone in the Reach that isn't a Nord. Not that it does me any good. Nords think I'm working for the Forsworn. Forsworn think I'm working for the Nords. A family of thieves, running their corrupt empire from Markarth. The Silverblood family own half the Reach, and they won't stop until they own all of it. Until next time.
What do you want? I don't owe you anything, do I? No, we haven't. Forget what I said. Unless you have coin. Then if you ever visit the pits, I hope you remember me well. I did. I aimed to make my fortune on the pits. I lost much coin the first time around, and still owe a sizable debt. Nonsense. This job is temporary. Until I pay back my debtors, they won't let me back into the fights. I got my start betting on the pit fights in Crag's Lane Cavern over in the Rift. As a young feline traveling with the caravans, I've always had a good nose for wolves. I could tell the difference between a wolf that hungers for a fight and one that merely growls in fear. I simply applied that knowledge to the pits. Be gone.
Dragonborn, huh? Is this the part where I make a joke about your mom?
A wanderer, yes? No, pilgrim, perhaps. You have come to commune with Periite, Taskmaster, and Blighted Lord, yes? He is the pus in the wound. Oh, proper ones curl their noses, but it's pus that drinks foul humors and restores the blood. I worship Periite, yes, because sometimes the world can only be cleansed by disease. Not everyone has the stomach required to entreat my lord, but Kesh likes you, friend. There is a way Periite may speak to us who will take him in. If you wish to commune with him, we'll need the incense. Yes, the incense. Fetch for me a deathbell flower, 1 silver ingot, a flawless ruby, and some vampire dust. Then I will show you how. This one needs something?
fear the night, because werewolves and vampires don't.
If you drink too much, you're out. No drunks. This is the old Rolden Inn. Clean beds and strong drink. Watch your tongue, stranger. We don't take back talk in this inn. Bye.
How can I help you? Tidings, Sirrah. My name is Asteria, a traveling bard on her way to Markarth. If you would like to hear a song, do not hesitate to make a request. I require no coin or patronage for my services. All I ask in return is the following favor. Should my verse please you, then I would be most gracious if you spread word of my song to the citizens of the Reach.
Did you clean the linens yet?
I have played in provinces and castles across Tamriel, but I have yet to perform in front of a Jarl, as Skyrim was home to many renowned bards of legend. It is my hope that I may walk in their footsteps and pay tribute to their memory. Bards are quite territorial, and there are many in Markarth who already call the Silver Blood Inn their home. In Old Rolden, I can ply my trade without having to contend for the floor. There's also the advantage of novelty. Just as a meal is most delicious when one's hunger is at its peak, the emotion of a song is best felt by those with virgin ears. Although I must confess, I do like the atmosphere of a traditional Nord inn. I love warm beds and homely smells, and also jewels, although I suppose one of those three has nothing to do with Old Roldan. I hail from Cyrodiil, but I've plied my trade in Hammerfell and High Rock, and have tales to tell from each. Certainly. For a fortnight, I had stayed outside the halls of Skingrad, in hopes of obtaining an audience with the Count. After many attempts, I decided to head west, on the Gold Road to Gavach, passing through the tomato fields that quilted the land outside the gate. It was then that my eyes set upon a frail old man, weeping at the base of a tree. He had lost his sister to vampirism, and had walked all of Cyrodiil retrieving the ingredients for her cure. Yet it came at a terrible cost. From life came death, and from hope loomed sorrow. She died less than 10 days after she was cured. For vampirism was the cure for time, and time is the deadliest disease of all. Not at the Bard's College, if that's what you're implying. I'm very much a bard, however, or I wouldn't advertise my services as such. If my skill were lacking, you would discover that soon enough. A sword maiden, for instance, could not profess her skill in battle and then show up to the arena with her armor on backwards. Nor can I claim to be a bard if my loot collects more dust than coin. Even here in Old Roldan, there's always someone with a story. A lost loved one, a new job, a family reunion, a long goodbye. And whether it's good, bad, or sad, a story always needs a tune. No, I suppose I didn't. Farewell.
You hire me, and you hire the best. If you got the boon, put it up, and you'll have the fiercest warrior in all of Skyrim. What does it look like? I'm a sellsword. You hiring? I don't take coin. I just have one rule. I keep what I kill. If that works for you, then you have my steel. Maybe because I'm not stupid. You see, these mercs take a job for 500 septims flat, just because that's the way it's always been. Some of these mammoth brains even do a second job on the house.
I like bandits. They always keep their gold in their pockets. Every
Beats
dead
me.
bandit is like a
Whenever I ask why, they tell me to shut my apple pie hole. It's 500 gold because that's the way it's always been. Seems to me that's the stupidest reason I ever heard in my entire life. And I knew Chief Yamars, so I've heard some stupid things come out of an orc's mouth. Not at all. Those other sellswords, you pay everything up front and there's no guarantee they'll even stick around. Me, if I don't kill anything, I don't get anything. So you know I won't run at the first sight of trouble. I know what's valuable. Jewels, orichalcum, nirnroot. In any case, I'll know it when I see it. I grew up in an orc stronghold. That good enough for you? Yeah, well, I was planning on staying in Rorikstead. Place like that got people going east and west. Except there was already a sellsword there. Some guy by the name of Killer or Slaughter or something. Guy with a nickname like that must have slain hundreds, no, thousands of men. Where I come from, people don't call you Killer unless you have a reputation for, you know, killing people. Well, you asked me a question and I answered it. Besides, it's not like you can just go to Rorikstead in the blink of an eye. Kynesgrove, little town in Eastmarch. You've probably never heard of it, but it's practically an Ulfric's kitchen. What? You saying someone can't grow up in two different places? I spent my childhood in Kynes Grove, and when I was big enough, I went down to Largusburg to train. At first, I wasn't sure if they'd take me. They asked me to brawl this real skinny female named Ugor. With the broomstick she called arms, I thought she was a maid. The egg was on my face when she knocked me from Frostfall to Sun's Dusk. They respected my will, though. Kept getting up and asking for seconds. Long story short, they took me in, trained me, made me the warrior I am. The best place you'll never see. You got all the convenience of the city with none of the hassle. You got the ocean to the east, waterfalls to the west, and hot springs to the south. I tell you, soaking in those pools is better than any healing spell. So? You're not exactly sitting in my lap, but I can still see your nose hairs could use a trim.
Look who it is.
What? Be serious. Uh-huh.
You'll be looking to rent Tiber Septim's room, I take it? That's right. In the Second Era, Tiber Septim himself led the army that conquered Old Heraldin from the barbarians of the Reach. Septim would later found the empire that united Tamriel, but his first known battle and victory was right here. And this inn has the very bed the great general slept in on his first night as Old Heraldin's liberator, as good as it was hundreds of years ago. See ya.
Well met, Sarah.
I work for Ildis. She runs the inn. You should head on inside. Ildis or Schoolie can take care of you. What's this? I guess some things never change. Thanks for bringing this to me. Here, for your trouble. See you. Good morning.
Why don't you save all that chit-chat for the winches in the taverns? Shouldn't we be out killing something? Never trust a Daedra with a smile on his face. Well, what do you want? like good women and cheap mead. But if I'm being honest, I prefer cheap women and good mead.
Ah, a visitor. Old Rolden Inn has hundreds of years
Yeah?
of history, friend.
Better to ask how it's not. Go ahead, ask me. Well, they both got people living in it. That's pretty much it. Alright. If you want the truth, I didn't go to Largaspur out of choice. My father forced me to. He didn't want me to grow up some milk drinker like him, and he started getting this idea in his head that the orc way was the only way. After everything my mother did to get our family out of that backwards mess, he goes and screws it all up. My mother was a proud woman, and she wasn't gonna abide by their stupid traditions. She was nobody's third wife. Only the chief wasn't the type who takes no for an answer. Got brains as thick as Charis shells, these stronghold orcs. Which wouldn't be so bad if they didn't have the morals of a Charis too. She ran. Took off the night before her wedding. Had a cousin who stood guard and was willing to die for her. Probably did. After that, she settled down in Kinesgrove. That's where she met my father, one of the orcs who worked the farms. She died giving birth to her first child. Me. That's one way of putting it. I say he was obsessed. Like he lost a part of his heritage by growing up a farmer. You can almost tell how embarrassed he was when some orc sellsword came by the inn. Or even worse, someone from the stronghold. Actually, almost isn't the right word. It was written all over his face. The shame. At first he tried to make himself a warrior. Spent all our savings on blunted swords and worthless piece of armor. Eventually, he realized he was better off putting his energy into me. But the Stormcloaks aren't exactly opening doors to those who aren't their kind. Orcs don't exactly live long lives, and he was running out of time. So he drops me off in that cursed stronghold like some piece of scrap meat for the hounds. Yamars? Yeah, I don't know if he was chief when Mother left, but if he was anything like that coward, I can see why she did. That poor fool didn't even bother to stop me as I walked out of the front gate. He was too scared I'd actually fight back. He can. All it takes is someone to challenge him, but it has to be a male or else I'd be chief myself. Yeah, there is. There's something that's been bothering me for some time now. It's kind of embarrassing to ask, though. Well, I guess it's better to ask a stranger. So I've noticed there's this thing the humans and elves do when they press their lips together. Usually with someone they like. Is that what it's called? Well, in any case, I was wondering what that was like. No, you fungus licker. I'm no Debellan whore. I was just curious is all. Seeing that I can't exactly do the same, not with these tusks in the way. I was just hoping you could tell me what it's like, or at least knew someone who told you. Sounds like you read that in a book somewhere. I'll ask someone with a little more real-life experience. Lead on, then. My mace hand's getting twitchy. Yeah? To the next fight.